This is Cadillac Unscripted on 107.9 CDY. It's sponsored by Independent Bank. I am Rich Spicer. Katie Huckle is off this week, and we spend a lot of time talking about live theater on this program because we support the Footlighters. But right now we're supporting local high school theater, and we have a cast of not 1,000 with us, but quite a few. We've got Haley Freeman, Anna Elmore, Ashley Alto, Jayan Raju, and Jack Gulish from the upcoming production of Footloose. And the director is Melissa Kendall. And Melissa, we're going to start with you. First of all, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great. How are you?
Good. All right. So how did we end up deciding that Footloose was going to be the show that you guys were going to do this year at Cadillac High School for the... Is this considered the Cadillac High School musical or
yes,
drama club? Is that two different things, or how does that work?
Two different things. This is the Cadillac High School musical, rebranding actually both the drama club and the musical as Vikings Theater. Okay. Because there's some crossover. Okay. And obviously we share resources and people and students and all of that. But yes, Cadillac High School musical. And
Footloose, how did it come to be? How did you guys decide? Was this a kind of a decision by committee, or how did it all work?
Well, within our production committee, we talk and we start the conversation early in summer, actually late spring. So by the time we finish wrapping Footloose now, we'll take maybe a month and then start tossing around ideas for upcoming productions. On the heels of the success of Rock of Ages last year, jukebox musical with really recognizable songs and big energy and, just a favorite of a lot of different generations, we kept coming back to it to kind of replicate some of that feel. And we knew we had the actors to perform it. Okay. So what's it like? You have a lot of experience directing adults. How is it different directing high school students? Well, I actually have a little bit more experience directing high schools. I've been assistant director for adult productions and Footlighters and choreographer. And I like that. And I feel drawn to, I do like working with teenagers and with the younger. And I think it's great. It's really a lot of fun. It's a different definitely than working with adults and Footlighters. Sometimes it's easier. Sorry, Footlighters. But it's fun in a different way. So what you're saying is teenagers may be a little bit more moldable. Is that what you're telling me? Yes. That's cool. All right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you brought 5 of your cast members here. Why don't you tell us who plays what, and I'll let you decide who talks first. Okay, well, we'll just start with Haley Freeman, and she plays Ariel, who is one of our leads against Ren, who's played by Jack. And I'm going to pass it over to... Sure, absolutely. Hi, Haley.
Hi.
Tell me about your role.
So I play Ariel, and she's a very, very different than my personality in some aspects, so that's really fun to branch off from me.
How so? Her. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yeah,
How so?
She's very spunky and just really bold and confident. And I'm a little on the quiet side, so it's definitely fun to play that kind of role and put myself out there more.
So you're stepping out and being something different than you typically are.
Yeah.
How much experience do you have in theater?
I've been doing it for a few years, not as much as some of my other cast members here, but since I was a middle schooler, I started with junior Footlighters productions, and I've been doing the high school productions all my years of high school. I'm a junior, so this is my 3rd one with the high school, and this is my 6th production overall. Okay, so next year hopefully will be the last one, so you're at this point, second to the last, you're just trying to enjoy it as much as you can. Of course, yeah. What is your favorite thing about doing this? I love Tech Week and just performing, bringing it all together and getting to something that you've worked so hard on, put it all together for an audience to see, and just seeing your family and your friends getting to see all the hard work you've put into the arts, and just performing. I love performing. I'm also a dancer and I'm in choir, so I have lots of performing aspects of my life, and so I just really love to perform.
And you've got a lot. Sounds like you got a lot of stuff going on after school,
Yes,
almost on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Melissa, before can you hand the microphone back to Melissa? We didn't even cover this yet, but we need to. We need to talk about when the show is before we meet anymore. And she's going to consult her notes really fast. Thank goodness we don't have a webcam in here.
February 8th, 9th, and 10th. At 7:00 p.m. And then we also have a matinee on February 10th on the Saturday, and that's at 2:00 at the Cadillac High School, our newly renovated Cadillac High School auditorium.
It will be then performed 4 times total.
Yes.
Why don't you talk? No, you know what? Hold that thought. I was going to ask you a question about the new and updated auditorium, but I'll save that for the end because we're still going through cast members here. Okay, Ashley Alto, tell me about your role. How are you?
So I play Wendy Jo, one of Ariel's friends, and similar to Haley, it's very different from my personality in general. She's kind of an idiot, and
clearly you're not.
Yeah. But that's been a fun challenge, and like I've been trying to get like a blank stare, and I'm struggling with that a little bit. But I just like twirl my hair and giggle, and that's my role.
You could watch any Ariana Grande role and probably figure that out, right? Yeah. So tell me about your past experience with high school theater. How's that? And have you done anything with the Footlighters?
Yeah.
Okay.
Footloose is my 17th production.
Lots going on. Okay.
I've been active.
I'd have lost count by now if I'd have had 17. But anyway,
I've been active with Footlighters since I was 8. I did like their junior productions as long as I could, and then I've done some adult shows, and then I've done the high school musicals every year.
And what's your favorite part about it?
Similar to Haley, again, I just love performing in any context. There's nothing like being on stage with like the lights and the audience, and I just love being on stage, and I like the friendships you make with the people in the cast. I think that's been really enjoyable.
Everybody here is nodding their heads. Is that because everybody just gets kind of tight?
Yeah.
And then when you do your last one, everybody's sad, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So February 10th, probably you want to put the brakes on that right now as far as the dates go. So, okay. Anna Elmore's here.
Hello.
How many first of all, what's your role?
I play Rusty, Ariel's best friend.
Okay.
She's very extroverted. She talks really fast. That's a big part of her character, actually, which I think is funny. Because I do talk really fast, so it's really nice that I don't have to get told, slow down.
So this role is probably the closest as far as the 5 that we have gathered here. We haven't talked to the guys yet, but this is closer to you.
So far, I think so.
Okay. How many are you at now?
I think this is my 5th.
Okay.
I got involved with Footlighters when I was in elementary school, and I did 1 production in Aladdin Jr., and then I took a step away. And I rejoined theater my junior year, which was last year, in Puffs with Footlighters. Then I took the stage in Rock of Ages, Matilda, and now Footloose.
And so this is a little emotional for you because this will be your last one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Best part about what you do?
It's so cheesy, but I have to say the people.
Okay.
Because it's
That's
just so
not cheesy.
True. Like I've made connections through my performances that have lasted me years. Like I still, even if I don't go to school with these people that I used to perform with, I still talk to them on a daily basis. I get to grow close with people I haven't been close with in a while, and I get to meet new people, and that's always super exciting. Just like the connections you make are so different, I feel like, in theater than anywhere else.
I would agree with that. Absolutely. All right. Jayan Raju. Tell me about your role.
So I play Reverend Shaw, the antagonist of the show, and he's basically just a reverend in a really small, southern, conservative, tiny, tiny town, and everybody's afraid of him. Yeah.
And you're sitting here smiling and so pleasant, so this sounds to me...
And he's so sweet, so he's employs some great acting skills.
So this is different from you.
Yeah, and it's also different than any role I've ever played, so it was kind of strange but also really exciting to step into a role because I'm usually very comedic on stage, and at this point I had to be very scary, which I really liked.
Okay. That stretches your acting skills, right? When you're playing someone that you aren't. So how many have you done?
This is also my 17th production. I started when I was 5 in kindergarten downstate because I grew up downstate, and I did community theater down there. And then in 8th grade, I moved to Cadillac where I did Puffs with Footlighters.
Okay. So this is the second one you've done in Cadillac, or you've done more than that in Cadillac?
4th.
What do you enjoy most about theater?
I think I enjoy just acting on stage. I like having stage presence and like, I don't know, there's something about it that I really love, just being on stage with other people.
Okay. Hand that microphone over to Jack. Jack Goulash, what is your role?
I am Ren McCormick, the lover of Ariel, the love interest. And
so we have the two leads here, right? Melissa? Okay, Go ahead, Jack.
So Ren is a really interesting character. So he moved to this super small town. I don't want to give away too much of the plot because you got to come see the show. But he is moving from this super small town from Chicago, and he's just so flabbergasted. Like, it's nothing. Like, everything's different. He's upset. He's kind of beefing with the Reverend Moore. Like, there's some issues. But yeah, I found Ren to be a really enjoyable character to play. Unlike you guys, I find a lot of Ren in myself. Because I grew up in Detroit and then like Jay in downstate. And I moved into Cadillac, which is similar to Beaumont, but not quite. It's a little bit bigger. But yeah, I moved into a small town and there was just a really big adjustment that I had to do. And so I'm just seeing a lot of Ren in myself, and I think it's super interesting and definitely a fun role to play.
How long have you lived in Cadillac, Jack?
About 5 years.
Okay. So the adjustment is at this point well over with, right?
Yeah.
You're a small town kid now.
Exactly. Through and through.
So how many productions have you been in
So
your
this
life?
is actually my first production.
First one.
Yeah.
And you're the lead.
It's so flattering.
How did that happen?
I don't know. I don't want to sound vain. Like, I'm amazing. But I don't know. I think I had a good audition, and I think I have a good stage presence, or at least I try to. There's definitely some kinks that we're going to have to work out just with it being my first production. I'm not the strongest dancer. As many of my cast members know, they'll have to teach me some choreo. But yeah, I landed the lead, and it's so thrilling. I love it.
So it's almost... I can't ask you the same question that I asked the rest of them. Well, I guess I can. What's your favorite part so far?
Yeah.
Because you haven't performed in front of a crowd yet. So that part hasn't happened. All these other folks sitting around the table are veterans at that. But so far, with all the rehearsals, what is your favorite thing?
Yeah. I'm just enjoying, I don't know, the music. And that seems like something that might sound small to most listeners, but I love music, like absolutely through and through. I'm a musical kid, and just singing with all of my favorite people, all my favorite cast members, and learning different parts and harmonizing and dancing to it and wrapping lines around the themes of the song. It's really just so much fun. I'm having a blast with that.
What era does Footloose take place in, Alyssa?
The 80s.
Okay.
Back to the 80s.
Okay. So are you all fans of 80s music? Now, Melissa...
Rock of Ages.
Melissa and I kind of grew up in that era, so that probably adds
Played
a lot
in.
to your enjoyment of directing.
It does, and it doesn't have as many. I mean, Rock of Ages last year there were so many songs because we didn't. It was almost like medleys, be a little bit of a song, then switch over to another song. But there's still great music. I mean, the original movie with Kevin Bacon and Sarah Jessica Parker and Laurie Singer, that opened 1984. And it was a huge, as you remember.
We all remember Kenny Loggins.
Kenny Loggins, yep. And then Broadway took it on. It became a musical in 1998. And actually, I didn't even on my birthday, October 22nd. So, not the year, but yeah.
So this is interesting. This was a movie before it became a Broadway show.
Yes.
Which is kind of the opposite way of that it happens many times. So, what's the most fun thing for you?
The most fun thing, I really love having all the little pieces coming together from all the different things that our production team does, and then bringing that together with our young adults to make something happen on stage, and then watch it unfold. Because when we first get there, and we do a lot of music first, especially for this, we didn't actually realize this is a very challenging musically, and you don't necessarily always know that because you get a perusal of the script. They only show you a little bit of it. So unless you can somehow get it from somewhere, which you're not supposed to do, you see. So then we get the scripts, we're looking at it like, oh my gosh, we have to spend a lot of time on music. And luckily we have a really super talented musical cast that they sound amazing. But I really love incrementally every time we come to rehearsal and just see those little, 10, 15%. We still have to work on this over here, but look at this part. This is amazing. It's just really rewarding. And I think it's rewarding for the cast too. Compared
to last year with Rock of Ages, how many of you were involved with Rock of Ages last year? Any of you? 4 of the 5 of you were. What percentage of music to dialogue was Rock of Ages, and what percentage of music to dialogue is Footloose?
There's a little bit more dialogue in this in Footloose. Yeah. Rock of Ages was close to a rock opera that is just almost all the way sung through. Yeah. It was close to it, but there's a little bit more dialogue, and there's a story, obviously, and there's a story that a lot of people already know with Footloose. So that you have the advantage there of people waiting to see that unfold, knowing what already happens, and they're already cheering for what's going to happen at the end.
And this kind of reminds me of my mom. My mom is 81, and she was on the Elvis Presley train from the beginning, and he was scandalous back in the 50s. So this is sort of like this is conservatism up against, it's the great theme of the youth rising up and teaching the adults a thing or two. Isn't that kind of what it is?
Yeah, that is what it is.
Okay.
Yes, and Ren is the one who brings that, even though everybody wants to be dancing, I think, in Beaumont. They've almost put it out of their mind, like, this isn't going to happen. And Reverend Shaw has this, stronghold on the entire community, which is easy to do if you have a dynamic, big, community personality in a very small. I picture Beaumont being even smaller than, much smaller, because we were talking about, it seems like there's one church in this entire town.
Beaumont is pretty small. Beaumont is in which state?
Oklahoma, but it's not. It's fictional.
Okay, so it's not. It's supposed to be wherever.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So tell us. Let's hand it back to Jayan. Your role, it sounds to me like you're the token bad guy, sort of, or the guy who's holding things up. So tell us a little bit about what it's like to have that kind of role.
So for me, it's been very interesting because I like to dip into Reverend Shaw's softer side that he tries to hide, because the backstory of Footloose is that he lost his son, and I like to relate that to Ren because he lost his dad. So I like to sort of look at his villain origin story being he lost his son, and now there's someone his son's age when he died coming into the town doing the thing that killed his son while he has a teen daughter. And so I sort of like to portray somehow that Reverend Shaw is using Ren to sort of heal his wounds while also trying to heal Ren's wounds too, because Ren also lost his dad.
Did any of the rest of you look at the script and look for inspiration and try to find things in your character to inform your performance? Anna's nodding her head. Go ahead.
I've played a lot of characters like Rusty in the past couple years. Like in my past couple of performances, I've had very bubbly characters. And so I like to kind of make each character a combination of the characters I've played in the past, plus people I know in real life. So I'm not going to name names, but I definitely have.
Oh, gosh, I was going to ask.
I definitely have a couple people out there that are my inspiration for my characters. So if you see a little bit of yourself in my characters, it might be the truth.
It's like Taylor Swift. Is she singing that song about me? Yeah.
Is Taylor Swift walking around Cadillac that we don't know about?
She coming to Footloose?
Jack, how about you? Obviously, first time, so you don't have a lot of experience in taking things that you have seen and informing your performance. But any influences here?
Yeah. So, like I said, when I moved from Detroit to Cadillac, I mean, like we said, small town through and through, but I do channel that part of myself to just that insecure little kid who just was trying to, I don't know, get used to everything. Like, I'm used to riding my bike to all these places. Like, if I want Taco Bell, keep in mind, I'm 12. I cannot drive at this time. I just ride my bike. Like, I'm used to the big city life. And I'm like, how can I channel that part of myself into Ren? And I think there has been a disconnect in the area of confidence because Ren is a very confident character. He stands against authority. He leads like revolutions against injustices, really. And honestly, that's not me. I would rather kind of just sit back and be like, oh, okay, no dancing. Oh, well. But no, I've had to, it's been a challenge to really just find people in my life who are confident and bold. And, you know, it doesn't matter what other people think because you're Ren and you lead people.
And you sound like you're a fly under the radar kind of person.
Right.
And this is the total opposite.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. All right, Ashley. Same question. Finding inspiration.
So this character is a little different from characters I play. I've been like the villain or like siding with the villain like in quite a few shows actually. So like I've gotten like ways to kind of get that character, but now I'm like a dumb blonde pretty much. And so I've kind of like I've been trying to take inspiration from like Brittany from Glee. And because she just like dances and like is an idiot, and then that's kind of what I do in Footloose because I dance in pretty much every number. But then when I'm not dancing, I just like twirl my hair and yeah, and just say and then yeah. So I've been trying to find like examples from like TV shows or musicals that like are more similar to my character because I feel like there's not people in real life that are this stupid, but yeah.
All right, Haley, same question. Where did you find your inspiration?
Yeah, so it's definitely been like a change from previous roles that I've had just because of how like outgoing Ariel is and like rebellious against Reverend Shaw. And so it's definitely a difference in character for myself and other roles that I've played. But yeah, similar to like Ashley, like different like TV shows and things like that, there's lots of people like that are rebellious. I mean, I feel like there's always some rebellion going on in lots of different things like that. But really like watching other productions of Footloose, I've really enjoyed like seeing like how other people my age have been like portraying that role. So I've pulled a lot of inspiration from that. But yeah, so it's definitely a change.
That brings up another question for each one of you. How much research on previous versions of Footloose did you do before you came into this? I would think that some people would not want to have any preconceived notions at all and bring their own interpretation to it. But how much prior Footloose knowledge did you have before this?
So before auditions, I'd never even seen Footloose, either the original or the remake. But I watched both of those, and I also watched probably like 3 other versions of Footloose on YouTube. But yeah, so I really like seeing like the differences in those different productions and pulling things from each that I would like to portray in my own performance. So that's been really fun to get to see those.
Ashley Alto, what do you say to that question?
Before, when they announced Footloose, I had never seen the movie, but I knew some of the music because it's pretty well known, I think. And then I watched the original movie in preparation for my audition, and that's about it.
Okay.
Which is what we wanted you to watch, the original instead of the remake.
Well, you need the microphone. We can't hear you. Repeat what you just said.
We did encourage the cast. I mean, as soon as they were cast, watch the 1984, the original. We probably said it 10 times. The original. We weren't, I mean, if you grew up when we did, you're not the hugest maybe fan of the remake. Maybe there's a couple of good parts, but the original was just where it was at and kind of what the feel that we were going for. And as for people like, that's an interesting thing that you brought up, because some people want to look at others' performances in that role and gain inspiration and help, and then others do not want to do it at all and fully form their character on their own. And I think if you can do it without, if you have so much, now that I think takes, if you have knowledge and training, and the more trained you are, the more trained of an actor, it's easier to do that, to just know about the role, read the play, and then do it without looking at anything, without the movie, without looking at YouTube. But for high schoolers or people who are just starting out or don't have a ton of experience, that's really hard to do. So you want to like see how other people approach. Doesn't mean you have to copy them or act the way they're acting, but just like as part of your research to see how they played that role.
Okay. How about your prior knowledge of Footloose, Anna?
So this is probably terrible timing. I'm so sorry to tell you this, Melissa. I had seen the original 1984 before I auditioned. Mm-hmm. I have not watched any other portrayals. I do not like to watch other people.
Is she learning this for the first time?
Maybe.
Okay.
But it's okay because she brought but she knows how to form her character.
You have a lot of experience, so.
Yeah, maybe not so much in theater, but for dance when you don't have words, which I think, helps in that regard. But yeah, I don't like to watch other people do my characters. I've never watched, like, in any of my productions, any other portrayals of who I am other than like the original source material, because I want it to be fully me.
So this wasn't laziness, this was by design.
Yes, I did this on purpose.
Okay. All right. How about you, Jayan?
So I watched the 1980s film, and then Stephen Lee Anderson, who plays Reverend Shaw in the OBC of Footloose, he was in How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying, and I listened to that soundtrack a lot, so that was my other prior knowledge of some of the actors and the storyline.
Okay, so not a ton going in.
No.
Okay. Jack, how about you?
So prior to auditions, I had watched I want to say it's 2004, but the 2000s, like, cheesier remake of Footloose, and I liked it, but I was definitely not like enthusiastic about it. I was like, oh, Footloose is just that. And I was like, okay, well, I want to do the musical, but it's fine. But then after auditions, I watched the original Footloose, and I was like, whoa. It was really good. I've only seen the movie once, though. But I wanted to dive into how other schools and other people my age, like Haley said, are taking on these characters. And so I would watch different YouTube videos of schools that would do it. And that's been helpful for me.
I would think with this being your first, probably the most research you could do would be the best.
Right.
Yeah.
And there is an aspect of me bringing myself into it. One thing Melissa said that was helpful was when you're acting, you need to picture yourself in your character's shoes. So maybe stop trying to be someone else, and you can be yourself in their circumstances, and that's going to help your acting, but also mix in a little bit of your character so you can really tell the story.
We've got a couple of minutes left, and we're going to go clockwise around the table, and we'll start with you. Give me a reason why people should come and see this.
Okay, one reason. It's going to be amazing, and you're going to be blown way back to the 80s. Your socks are going to be knocked off. We've got so much talent, and we've worked so hard, and it's all for you guys, and we're just so excited for you to come see it.
Jayan?
I think that it's a story that applies to almost any situation in life, because you're always going to have situations like this where something's banned, but you love it and you want to protest. So I just think it's a good life lesson or moral.
Okay. Anna?
Come support the arts. Come support your youth. Oh, sorry, Ashley.
Did she steal your line?
Come support your arts. Come support your youth. Like, it's such an amazing program. And after all the construction and everything, we're trying to get it back off the ground. And like Jack said, it's going to be a great show. So it's a great way to get involved.
All right, Ashley, now you got to come up with something else.
Okay. Yeah. So I was going to say support the arts, but also just because it's fun. I think musicals are fun. I love watching musicals. They feel so much more interactive to me than like a straight play, because you just feel yourself dancing, you get to see the music, the big musical numbers, and I think it'll be fun for the audience.
Haley?
Yeah, similar to what Ashley said, just how like watching musicals is just so just like a fun activity to come do, and to see all the hard work that we've put into the shows. It's just really fun to see it all come together, and so it'll be a really good show to come watch.
And Melissa, this is going to be the public's probably the first exposure to the newly renovated auditorium, right?
Well, for the musical, it will be. There have been some vocal performances and dance performances, but this is for a musical. This is it. And that's one reason. But these performers are talented. We've been working over 4 months on this on the stage, sometimes not on the stage because we were still under construction. And so the amount of time and effort and schedule manipulation they had to do to be able to rehearse, to perform this for the community it's going to be amazing. So you should definitely come out and see it.
We're going to give you the last word. Give us the dates and the times one more time.
Okay. February, we open on a Thursday, February 8th. And then 9th and 10th, Friday and Saturday at 7 o'clock p.m. And we have a matinee February 10th at 2 o'clock. Tickets are on sale at Horizon Bookstores is our outlet, and then you can get them at the door as well.
And as this is being heard, it's the Saturday prior to your opening night, so you've got Tech Week coming up.
We have Tech Week. Yes, it's today's Friday. It's in 2 days. Yes. Monday, we start our Tech Week. It crosses over 2 weeks because just of how the scheduling worked out.
Well, break a leg. And thank you to all of you, Melissa Kendall, Haley Freeman, Anna Elmore, Ashley Alto, Jayan Raju, and Jack Ghoulish from the cast and the director of Footloose. Go see it at Cadillac High School Auditorium. Cadillac Unscripted. Thank you all, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Cadillac Unscripted is sponsored by Independent Bank. Join us next week, same time, same station for some more local chat here. Cadillac Unscripted on 107.9 CDY.